I'm not going to get it wrong 3 days on the trot. Okay, I know the Prime Minister of the country is Boris Johnson. I'll get it right. Oh, hi guys, and welcome back to Brexit. Brexit Britain, a country who has been described as racist, Islamophobic, anti-Semitic, homophobic, sexist, and misogynistic, all by the Israeli ambassador to Great Britain. And this has all happened, right, under the leadership of Jeremy Corbyn, who we voted in this country in 2019, telling us that he is going to build houses, right, buy back utility, in fact, right, what he said he was going to do, yeah, he's going to wait for the leases on these utility companies to run out and just take them back as they run out. And the same thing with the train lines, that he was going to do all of that. Now look, I understand, Prime Minister Corbyn, that you was hit by a pandemic, right? And yeah, okay, we've had some of the worst figures in the world, but what other government didn't have a bad time over COVID? Yes, we've had 160,000 people dead, but most countries have had that, I believe, right? And telling us that you're going to buy back the utility companies, build houses, bring in transport networks for up north and places like this, and give us all a universal basic income. And what have you done? Right? We've got 160,000 people dead because of you, Prime Minister Corbyn. Right? We've got the worst NHS figures in the world because of you, Prime Minister Corbyn. I'm really sorry. I'm supposed to be Boris Johnson. And also, welcome back to By Any Means Necessary. Thank you so much for all your messages you sent me, and a special thanks here to everybody who signed up to my channel. I feel so blessed with so much people that signed up, so thank you so much for that. I'll go through all your messages, I'll answer as many as I can, but I will like all your messages for definite. Someone said to me, you should do that in the style of Jim Bowen. And look what you could have won. You could have won this lovely speedboat. Right? I know you live in a high-rise in the heart of London, and there's no water anywhere near you, and you don't have a car to pull the boat anyway. But it's worth 12 grand. But you have got this lovely tea set worth £45 from a major supermarket. That's what's happened to us, isn't it? Put a clown in charge of the country. I've got to say, congratulations to Boreham Wood, giant killers, of Bournemouth. Because Boreham Wood, they're like a non-league, sorry. So these guys, they're part-timers. Basically, they've got full-time jobs, most of them, and they do football part-time, and they've beaten a championship side, but next they have to step up to Everton, so they need to go to Goodison Park. So we'll see how that goes for them. But you know what, I would really like to see them go. I would really like to see them go another step, and then maybe another step after that. Because they are, Boreham Wood, they are a London side. So I do support all the London sides. More so. Right, and Her Majesty the Queen, right, has, after a 4-month break off of work, she's decided to go back to work today with a full schedule at 95 years old. Now you have to hand it to the Queen and say, you know what, she's 95, and she's just going back, and she's going back to work. And the Queen, throughout the whole Queen, throughout her whole reign, she has been the professional all the way through. She's the one in the family who has stayed the professional all the way through. I'm not a royalist. I'm a Republican, right? But I do have a lot of respect for the Queen. I know what you're thinking. Yeah, it's just because she come out, in support of Black Lives Matter a couple of months ago, isn't it? And yes, it is. Right? But truly, remember seeing her, at her husband's funeral. Right, and then knowing that night there was 2 parties in Downing Street, which is Crown Land, and there was 2 parties in there on that night. Do you know what I mean? So you have to, the Queen, she has been very professional all the way through. Do you know what I mean? And she made an announcement that Camilla is going to be is going to be the Queen consort. And I said, well, why are you telling me stuff that I already know? Right, we knew that because that was said a long time ago. That was said when Charles married her, because obviously. you know what? I'll go into that royal story at a different time, because there's quite a bit of a background behind that royal story, and I have some super points, right, about that. Right, but anyway, Carrie Johnson, right? You know, it seems that people are turning their fire onto Carrie Johnson now, right? But I have this feeling, right, that you see, Boris, right, and Carrie. I think these two, yeah, are very, very suited as a couple, because remember, she was a very big wig, yeah, she was within the Conservative Party, like as a working within the Conservative Party. So she knows everybody around it, right? But a lot of people are saying, well, you know, because a new book has just come out to say, well, it's none of this is Boris's fault. It's all Carrie's fault. And what I said in the opening thing about the Israeli ambassador saying this country is misogynistic. Right? And that's, you know, it's amazing, yeah, that you've got around Boris Johnson, you've got all these people around Boris Johnson, right? And we know, right, that Boris Johnson's whole life has been one big fuck up, right? But, right, there's all the people around him always get the blame for it, and now obviously they're turning it onto Carrie and saying, well, it's her fault, you know, she's the one that, you know, insisted they have wallpaper for £850 a roll. It's, you know, it's down to her. She knows that Boris is broke, and she still made him go and spend all of that money on decorating. Right, so all of these things, yeah, have been coming out secretly, yeah, and now it's just splashing it all over the newspapers, because you know, I saw an interview with Boris Johnson, yeah, back in 2006, right, where Boris Johnson said the way to deal, right, with the media is just chaos, right? Just put stories out there that are not real, right? Bungle your way through. He said all of this on camera in that interview. I think it might have been Parkinson. I'm not sure who the interview was with, right? But he said all of this on camera. He said all of this. Do you know what I mean? And you think to yourself, seriously. And when you look at now what's going on, right, you can understand what he said, because everything that's going on now, Boris, he said this is how he said I just pepper the media, right, with stories, you know, but so before they know it, you know, there's a story moving over here, there's another one over here, so before they know it, right, everyone's just saying, well, leave him alone, he's doing his best, before you know it. Right, but anyway, let's move on, right? So the government today, right, are supposed to be making announcements, right, about the NHS, right? You know, a multi-billion-pound announcement was supposed to be made today, but they can't, right? Because you know why? And just wait for this. Because they're concerned about the costs. They're concerned about the costs, right, of you, right, having your knee replaced or your hip replaced. That's what they're concerned about, because there's over 6 million people on the waiting list. Over 6 million. That's probably 7 or 8% of the population waiting, right, to have minor surgeries, right, in what's supposed to be the sixth or the whatever largest economy in the world. But the waiting lists, right, if people stood on each other's shoulders, right, it would probably go up to the moon and then come back down again. The waiting list of people waiting, right, for NHS services. And remember, this is under the Tories, right, who people always tell us how they're good with money, right, and you know, we have systematically watched them sell off the NHS, right, and we've done nothing about it, nothing at all about it. We've done nothing about it. Right? And it's really, really sickening, right, to know that in this country, right, we've got so many people waiting on the NHS, right, and the government are concerned about the cost. Do you know why that is? Because peasants are idiots, and they think, oh, the best thing we can do, right, is vote for the Tories because they're our betters. No, what it is you're stupid, right? Those people should be nowhere near power. Right, you know, in a country where, you know, where the population is working class, right? Because that's what this is. It's a working class country. Right? People might want to believe that. You might want to believe, well, you know what? I'm better than them people over there. But that's not true. You live down the same fucking road as them. You drive similar cars. You're not better than them. You just think you're better than them. Right? And it's because of that vote there why we've got this now. Right, you know, highest cost of living crisis ever. Right, and the reason for that, right, is because poor people are stupid people. Right? Boris Johnson I think that Boris Johnson himself has put this story out, right? To try and just deflect, because that's what these guys do. When we were talking about parties for months. Now they're turning the fire on his wife, right? After Boris Johnson has just brought in a load of, because he can't get now he can't get no more really good civil servants to come and work in Downing Street. So he's had to bring in a load of MPs to do the jobs of civil servants. Right, MPs who have got constituencies that they should be working in. How are they going to work in Downing Street and work in their constituency? How does that work? Right, Steve Barclay's already got 2 jobs, right? And he's been brought into Downing Street. It's ridiculous. Right, this government is a complete and utter shambles. Complete and utter shambles. But anyway, let's speak about some Brexit, because the Northern Ireland First Minister, obviously he resigned the other day, throwing Stormont into chaos. Right, but it's Edwin Poots, right, has just made like an international idiot of himself, right? I always tell you that the DUP, these people don't understand politics at all under any circumstances, right? So, you think to yourself, well, because I actually believed that he couldn't do what he tried to do the other day, stopping the checks. Stopping the border checks. I didn't believe that he could actually do it. Do you know what I mean? But he done it, and I thought obviously he must have taken legal advice, right? But the courts have said to him, listen, you know what? Yeah, get your motherfucking narrow ass back down to the docks and tell them, right, to start checking, right? You have no right to be doing that, motherfucker. That's what the court said, right? Right? Because he's taking Edwin Poots doing that, yeah, is like the harbour master saying, well, you know what, we're not checking. No, we're not doing it. Do you know what I mean? You haven't got that power to do that. It's an international agreement. He hasn't, I didn't think he had the power to do it, and I was sure bloody right about that, And, it's typical of a Brexiter, right, to be that stupid. Right, but it is the Brexit attitude, isn't it? We will leave the institution, right, but we expect to have exactly the same as we had before. But we leave, but we want to leave the institution, right? But because of our exceptionalism, because we're British, right? That I just done it again. I hope that's the first time I've done it, right? That is the only thing that we can come up with, because we're exceptional and we are better than those people. So they have to give us the exact same deal as we had before. Someone needs to ask Edwin Poots, yeah, what the hell, right, are you going to replace the Irish Protocol with? What are you going to replace it with? Because he hasn't got anything to replace it with. The man's a damn fool. Right? He's got nothing at all to replace it with. He just wants to be like the English. I don't understand that attitude, because that is a stupid attitude, right? And patience is wearing thin amongst scientists, right? Because their ass has been blocked out of horizon. You say, well, I'm sure you knew that, but I'm quite sure, yeah, the scientists themselves, yeah, would have all voted for to remain, because scientists would have understood. I'm sure that there's going to be very few scientists that wouldn't have understood how the EU works and understood that why we need to stay in the EU. I'm quite sure about that, right? That you probably can draw some scientists out who are thick Brexiters, right? But I would say, yeah, that most scientists, right, would have voted to remain, because these aren't, scientists are not stupid ass poor people, right, wanting to think that they're Tories for some reason. Right. Scientists, right, even if they are Tory voting, right, I believe they would have voted to remain, right? And so the doctors and scientists are really, they are really, like, feeling the pinch now, because it's a thing what you need to be in. If it's because it's a European wide, sorry, it's a European wide system, so it's something that you need to be in. Right, and obviously we've been blocked out of it for the longest of time now, and that is all down to you damn ass fools, right, who were so stupid to vote for something, right, that was going to shoot you in both feet and both motherfucking hands like a bunch of racist idiots. Because that is what Brexit is. This is By Any Means Necessary. I'm the MC John Ribs. It was really nice to speak to you guys. Comments below.